Hey, how are you? Welcome to the Wisdom to Win podcast. It's your host, Ray J. Johnson, and today is a little bit different. I'm going solo. Yeah, I'm going solo because, I started thinking people need to know who I am besides just the interviewer. You might want to know a little bit about who I am and how I got here. Well, listen, let me take you to the time of 12, and the place, St. Louis, Missouri. And what had happened was my spouse, I should say, husband, because he was my husband, said that he realized 11 years prior that he married the wrong woman. Talking about me. And there are some things that I never thought about when it came to divorcing. Now, I'm not totally ignorant of what happens in divorce, assets being separated, houses being sold, the money having to be split between the two, and where the kids going to be on which holiday and with which parent. Got all of that. But there are at least 10 things that I had not really thought about or didn't really know when it came to divorcing. So, my question to you is, are you in fear or are you informed? 10 things I didn't know about divorcing. And I'm going to go over those 10 things with you now. The reason why I have this podcast is because I found myself at the age of 50 divorcing after decades of marriage and two nearly adult children later. I had no idea that that was going to happen. I didn't get married to get divorced. I don't think anyone ever gets married, even in this day and age, to get divorced. But it seems like marriage is becoming this disposable thing instead of a covenant and commitment between you, your significant other that you love forever, and God. It's supposed to be a contract. It sounds kind of corporate in that sense, but there are corporations that last longer than marriages. So maybe if there are some things that we're thinking about that we didn't know when it came to divorcing, we would fight harder to stay married. I don't know. What are your thoughts about it? Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and put some comments below. Give me a thumbs up. Share this because I'm sure there's someone out there that need to know what I didn't know. Also, before we get into this, I'm an affiliate marketer as well. And so there are several brands that I represent. And if you make a purchase out of one of those brands that you may like in the area of wellness, or if you're a business startup and you want to know about email marketing, or perhaps you need an accountability coach, I'm the one that you want to get on my Calendly and let's have a conversation. I might just make a little money as an affiliate marketer and as an accountability coach. And it's my responsibility to inform you of that. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's start with some of the things that I didn't know that you might not know when it comes to divorcing. So I'm put my glasses on, I've got my notes here. So let's give it a go. So, one of the first things that I didn't think about is unity in your community. What exactly does that mean? Well, I had to build up unity within the community for something as simple as car maintenance. I had a car. I didn't think about what mechanic am I going to because I usually left the automotive type stuff to my spouse. So I had to start building up a community of where to literally take my car to get maintenance so that I didn't, get the unnecessary kind of stuff going on with the car maintenance. I, of course, learned that not going to the dealership is a lot more cost effective than going to the dealership unless you're still under your warranty, which I was not. So I needed to build up unity in my community for car maintenance. The second thing was do not call your attorney for everything. During the separation process, I had no idea that every little minute was considered a billable hour. And when I had simple questions that I thought of and said, oh, let me just call my attorney and see what the attorney has to say. I was getting billed. Finally, my attorney said, every time you call me, you're getting billed for that, right? Even if it's 5 minutes or an hour, you get billed for an hour. So don't call for everything. If you do have to call, make a list. Make sure that you utilize that full time that you're going to be charged for. Number 3, spiritual support. I had some spiritual support, but do you know that because, and I feel like this, no one told me that, it's just how I felt in my shanana, that people felt they had to make a choice. When you're married for a long time and you start to accumulate that friendship community, you have couples that are your friends. And sometimes they feel like they're stuck in the middle. They have to choose. Do I choose him? Do I choose her? I don't want to make that choice. What do I do? Do I avoid talking to them? Do I only talk to one and cordial to the other? So I literally said, we were on Facebook, unfriend me. You don't have to unfriend him. Don't choose him over me. Just go ahead and choose him. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good. I wasn't, because that was important to me to have that spiritual support. I do have to say now, the counselors that were a part of my church community, my pastor, some very, very, very close friends, were there for the both of us. And they could be without passing judgment because they knew that the support needed to be there. So that's something that you kind of need to think about, your spiritual support. And I was from a very small family. So I made the church family my extended family. And I didn't think about the toil of them trying to decide whether or not to stay connected to us both or pick a side. That's hard. So that's something that you kind of have to think about. The fourth thing is find a realtor that specializes in helping you to divide the assets regarding the house sale. Because I had refinanced the mortgage and he decided he did not want to help with that. So he literally took himself off the deed, but he was still on the title. And when we had a parting of the minds behind something, he ended up having to leave. And when it came to selling the property, my realtor told me it's a possibility, since he's on the title and no longer on the deed, that you will have to split the proceeds. Those are things that you have to think about. But he did something that he shouldn't have, and he made a large purchase that was still considered marital property while we were still married. So I said, well, that means that if I have to share this, the home that we had, you have to share that, the vehicle you just bought. And he didn't want to do that. So we negotiated. You keep your vehicle, and I'll keep the proceeds from the short sale of the property. You got to make sure that that paperwork, that legal stuff is done when you're in the phase of separating. Now, I'm not advocating divorce at all, but these are some things that I feel like you need to know, because somebody out there, one of y'all in the 8 billion of people out there, don't even think about this, are not thinking about this because you're in the throes of the divorce or of the separation, or trying to figure out how to manage and balance everything. And then, like me, I was ill. I was abandoned during the time that I was in cancer treatment for stage 3 breast cancer. And it has spread rather to my lymph nodes. I had a son in college and one graduating high school. And I was trying my best to keep everybody together. I was trying my best to even stay working because I felt like I needed the money. But the day that I literally collapsed and my employer said, you are now a liability, I had to give up that salary. Those are some things that you just don't really think about when it comes to divorcing. So I'm just saying, put some things in perspective. Also, let's see, number 5. Give yourself some room and some grace. You really do. Take care of yourself. The last thing that you're probably thinking about is taking care of you. Like going to a movie just to escape. I felt guilty about even being able to take myself to a $5 movie, to a matinee, just to escape the reality of my falling apart life. I should not have felt that way because I needed to give myself some grace. I needed to regroup, recharge, relax, relate, release, and really make sure, especially in the state I was in, on receiving treatments, chemotherapy, and radiation, I definitely needed to give myself some grace to be okay with not being okay. And even if that meant taking a nap, taking time out. Now, mind you, this is when I was still able to go and do and be independent prior to having to leave my job on disability because I was too weak to continue to work under treatment. So I'm just saying, give yourself some grace. Um, there is a little freebie that I call the dream method. And I'm going to put a link for that free workbook in the description box just for you. It's my way of saying give yourself some grace and think about some things on how you can be bold and that you are abundant in everything. Abundant in friends, abundant in things, there is abundance there for you. So don't think that because you may be getting ready to go through divorce or having gone through divorce that you've lost everything. You really have not. The workbook is going to help you to see just how abundant you may be. And if you're not feeling that way, it will help to show you exactly how abundant you are. Okay, number 6, do not overcomplicate things and do not overcompensate when it comes to the children. A lot of times we feel guilt about the fact that we're divorcing. So we start to overcompensate and overcomplicate things by trying to buy their affection or distract them with things or constantly keeping them busy, hoping that that smoke screen of busyness keeps them from asking hard questions like what's going on with you and dad or you and mom. um why are you doing this? it you don't want the children to associate gifts with a problem. You see where I'm going with that? So you want to make sure that you're giving them love because you're giving of yourself and not of things. Okay, now number 7, forget the competition. Don't be in competition with the other person for the affection and the time and attention with your children. Be in cooperation. Now, I know that's easier said than done because I'm coming from the position where I was like, hey, please make sure that you XYZ with your son because of da 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 da. And I was met with opposition, you know, very negative opposition. I wasn't trying to boss or tell. It was a simple reminder. I'm trying to communicate the cooperation. So sometimes it doesn't always work, but you make sure that you're the parent that's not feeling like you have to compete for your children's affection with the other person. Just continue to move on in the right direction that you need to so that you and your children are good. Number 8, see this as a new beginning and not an ending. Look, I understand it's difficult to start navigating these new life chapters that divorce is going to bring you. But don't look at it as that. Now, I knew I thought that I was going to be married until physical death did us part, not death of the marriage. So there is a grieving process that you will go through. And trust me, I've been there. I get it. I'm not telling you something I was told. I'm telling you something that I literally went through. And a reminder, I went through this while I was going through stage 3 breast cancer treatment. So I had a lot going on. I had an employer who didn't want me. I had a spouse who didn't want me. And as a result, the house was going into foreclosure, which is why I needed the realtor sooner than later because I couldn't work to pay the mortgage. And he stopped. Yeah, he stopped. He took his money to start his life elsewhere with someone else. So, yeah, it was that. So I'm just saying, see this as a new beginning. Try to find that silver lining, even though it's raggedy and torn apart. Try to find the silver lining. And what this will help you do is to help you feel better and not bitter. One thing that I've been told is that when a person is showing you the negative side of things and constantly complaining, it's really more about them and their insecurities than it is about you. So I want you to hold on to that fact. Number 9, be truthful to yourself. If you are needing to cut out expenses, stuff that you're used to doing that you really cannot afford to do anymore, don't try to do that because the financial relationship that you now have with money has changed. If you have been used to a two-parent household, and or even if you're not parents but you've been used to two people in the house running the house expenses and now everything is falling on your shoulders, you have got to be honest with yourself. You have got to be truthful with yourself and say, hey, I need to cut back. If I used to have a night where I go out with my friends and I can't do that anymore, that's not in the budget right now. It's not forever, it's for right now. And it will help you in the long run because you need to make sure that you have the money for the essential things. If you still have children that are in school, they're going to need stuff. And I'm not talking about necessarily toddlers and elementary school. I'm talking about the high school. Even the college kids need care packages, and expenses can go out the window when you're talking about packing up care packages. And today it's 2025. Eggs are crazy expensive. So that means that there's a lot of things that is not in our control. However, what is in our control is what we spend that money on. So give yourself, some thoughts about and be truthful. Don't lie to yourself. Don't credit card yourself out of it because really a credit card is just a loan. It's really not your money. It's a loan. You got to pay it back and with interest. Um, Plan out your meals. One of the things that I used to do is when my kids were in elementary school, they would get a menu every week or every month, I should say, and bring it home. And I would see every day for the entire month what they were going to eat at school. Well, one day I incorporated breakfast for dinner. I literally just did not have enough groceries, hadn't been paid yet. And I stood in my pantry and I said, 2 fish, 5 loaves, Lord, 2 fish, 5 loaves, which was my way of saying, how am I going to feed these kids today? I had breakfast food. So we had breakfast for dinner, and that's what I called it. My youngest son loved it so much, he went back to school the next day, told the cafeteria people that he had breakfast for lunch or breakfast for dinner, and could they have breakfast for lunch one day? They actually incorporated that into the menu, and it became part of what they did. So if you have menus that you can put together, casseroles, things that's really easy to give yourself some time, to give yourself some grace, and to help you with meal plans. Hey, do that. Maybe once a month you can go out, or maybe once a month you can have pizza from your local pizza place. But be aware of the fact that you are going to have to cut back. Don't fool yourself because it's not going to last forever. It's just temporary, just an adjustment. Um, Number 10, perfect order and perfect timing. Now, what do I mean by that, Ray J? What are you talking about? Perfect order and perfect timing. I have been married for so long that I thought all I knew was being a wife and a mother. And I was rushing to hopefully find the next person to marry so that I could be that wife and show that I was that good wife. Don't rush it. Get to know who you are, re engage with you, love on you. Do those things that you hadn't done. Remember those back burner items, the stuff that you kind of just said, "Ah, I'll get to it when the kids, I'll get to it when he." Yeah. Start pulling those things up to the front burner. It's your time now. It's time for you. It's time for you to think about all of those passions, all of those projects, all of those purposes that you had prior to marriage. It's time for you now. This is your now. So when it's supposed to happen, it will happen if it happens in the right time, not in your time. So, those are things that I hope helped you, those 10 things that I didn't think about when divorcing. And I'm hoping that this has really helped someone. If this really helped you, or if you heard this episode and you really do like what I have to share, I would appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel, put a like on it, give me a comment of encouragement, please. It's enough negativity. I don't need negative comments. If it's something that you thought about that I didn't think about, I would love for you to put that in the comments too. And again, I'm an affiliate marketer. So I'm going to put those links below. If you're looking for something in wellness, it's going to be down there. If you are a business startup or you're just getting into email marketing, the Home Business Academy is something I'm going to put in the description below. Check it out. It's a variety of products that we have. And especially my special one that I really love is called Let's Go. It helps you to have those magical mornings where you get a little inspiration, a little aspiration, and it makes things so easy for you to put down stuff you want to accomplish because it's digital. Yep, you can make it into an app or put it on your laptop. So if that's something that you think you might be interested in, just click on the link and check it out. Also, I'm an accountability coach. So if you want to get on my calendar and let's have a conversation, it's a complimentary conversation. And if you're needing a coach in your life, I'm the one to help you out. Why? Why me? Because I lead from the heart. I've been where you may be going, and I've learned some things along the way. And I want to give you the wisdom to win. So, with that being said, I hope you like this solo episode. I plan on doing a few more. If there are some other things that you would like for me to talk about, put those down in the comment section as well. And the way that I always end this show, I love you to life and on purpose. And I'll see you on the other side in the next episode. And let's win this thing together. Bye for now.